Tonight we have Molly. She's going to talk to us about minerals, HTMA, women's health, hormone health, all that good stuff. She is a nutritional therapy practitioner. And she's going to tell you a little bit more about herself, but we do try to do get well gatherings at least every month, every other month. Again, just about a wide range of topics, so that you can learn more and it's just free for you, good information. We are again recording tonight so that we can try to put it up on YouTube for anyone who wants to watch it later. So if again you don't feel comfortable with your video being on, you don't have to have it on. I think when we record like in this fashion, I think it only records the speaker and the screen, but I can't remember off the top of my head right now. So anywho, we're gonna get rolling with this. Again, if you have questions, feel free to chat them. In fact, I encourage it. I think you get more out of it when you pop in and ask questions. Even though Katie, you're like learning HTMA, like maybe
You
you,
can ask too.
yeah, it's like good for you to ask questions that maybe we didn't think to ask that most people do ask, or things like that. So definitely feel free to pop in with those as well. And yeah, if other people trickle in, they'll trickle in, and we will just get rolling. So Molly, I'm gonna let you take it away.
All right. Well, you guys can see the screen okay, right? Okay. I have two screens up, so I'm always making sure everything is looking good on your side. Well, hi, I am Molly. I am a nutritional therapist practitioner, which is a mouthful to say. So I just say I'm an NTP, which is much easier. But my niche in my business is I really help women find the calm in the true chaos that is perimenopause. That being said, I also help women that um, any type of woman that is dealing with any type of hormone issue, because I find that that is just about every woman out there in this day and age. So the perimenopause is kind of my specialty, but I really help any and all women, whether they are in their mid 30s, their 40s, their 50s, because it is so important to help make sure that the body is in balance and to feel your best. So when I'm helping women in my practice, I am helping them get their energy back, their confidence, without guessing and doing it alone, because I feel like there is so much information out there right now that it's very overwhelming and you don't know where to start and you don't know what to eat and you don't know what supplements to take. So that's where I come in and I really help give my clients a plan that is strictly bio individual for them so that they can actually get results that last. So that's a little bit about what I do as a nutritional therapist practitioner, but from now on I will say NTP. So why do I do what I do? Like, why am I here talking to you guys tonight? Why am I so passionate about this? So several years ago, I suffered two miscarriages within 2 years. And the second one that I had led to some complications that led to surgery. And I was completely shocked and overwhelmed, and I felt like my world had been completely turned upside down. I thought I was healthy, quote unquote, but going through that, I felt like I had no control of my body. I kept asking questions, and doctors brushed me off over and over again. No one could tell me why. If you know me, I like to know all the details. I want to know why, but no one could tell me why my body was kind of failing me and why this kept happening. So I was worried, I was scared, I was heartbroken, and I was completely desperate for answers. And I didn't know why, but I wanted to fix it so it didn't happen again. And that moment changed everything for me. I was done being brushed off. I wanted the answers. So I set out on my own journey. It was a lot of time, it was a lot of money, but I went down this whole root cause route to really figure out at the root what was wrong with my health. And I wanted to fix everything holistically and whole body. And I was able to do that. I came through that probably 6 months to a year. It was a lot, it was intense. I don't recommend for everybody the way I did it. I just went balls to the wall. I do a little softer approach with my clients. But when I came through that process, I realized, you know what? No one, especially women, no one should feel like this. No one should feel dismissed. No one should think they're crazy. Like they should feel validated and heard. And that's what made me seek out becoming an NTP, because I wanted to help other women feel empowered to take back their health. So that was really kind of the catalyst that got me moving forward. So in 20, what are we in now? 2022, I launched my NTP business and hit the ground running while working a full-time corporate job. I had a lot of personal stuff going on, and I'm human, I'm not perfect. In 2024, my health took another nosedive, and I was diagnosed with endometriosis. Not stage 1, but stage 4, which is like the worst you can possibly have. I had no idea. Again, I was kind of blindsided, but so many dots were connected with the infertility, the miscarriages, all the symptoms I had had over the years. And yes, I was able to kind of calm that down for a while with my diet and lifestyle, but then life happened and things kind of reared up again. So I was probably at my worst in 2024 health wise, and surgery was needed ASAP. You can see my before picture there. That was the day after surgery. And then this was 1 week after surgery. My poor little bloated belly. um, but I have never felt better. The surgery helped significantly, but I fell back into the root cause approach again, working on nutrition, diet, lifestyle, and that's just proof to show you that even though I am a practitioner, I am human. Things happen, life happens. But again, if you can go back to those foundations over and over again, they can really help get you back on track and get your body in balance. So again, I'm a nutritional therapist, but what is nutritional therapy? You know, you probably hear functional nutrition, you hear nutritional therapy. What is the difference? Nutritional therapy really is the belief that health can be achieved through a holistic, whole body, and bio individual approach. I just did a luncheon talk last week, and they were asking me if I was a dietitian, and I said, no, I'm not a dietitian. This is more about looking at each client bio individually as a unique and different person and creating a protocol specifically for that person. It's not a cookie cutter approach, it's not a one size fits all. It is about what your body needs and what it needs to get back on track. So we look at the foundations. What are those foundations? Nutrient dense diet, digestion, blood sugar regulation, fatty acids, mineral balance, which we're going to talk about tonight, and hydration. And when all of those foundations are balanced, then the body is healthy. When those foundations are off, like my little rocks balancing there, then that's where we have unhealthy stuff happen. All right, so here we are. We're going to talk about unlocking the power of minerals, why HTMA, hair tissue mineral analysis, is a game changer for women's health, and why I love using it so much in my practice. So we probably are going to talk for about 30-45 minutes, or I'm going to talk. You guys feel free to chime in with questions. But hopefully this will help you understand why minerals are so important, especially in your health and especially during perimenopause. We'll talk about why they are the foundation of health, and why we test and we don't guess. We don't want to guess what's going on with your symptoms. We want to test and find out why. So when we're done tonight, you will leave with clarity on how mineral imbalances may be driving your symptoms and what your body is really asking for. So, have you been told this is just how it is? Or it's just normal? You're just aging. Try harder. Take birth control. Just wait it out. You're crazy. Have any of you been told these things? You can raise your hand in the chat. You can type a yes. I hear this all the time from my clients, just constantly being brushed aside. So when we're going through perimenopause, oh my goodness gracious, it's a roller coaster. Fatigue, hormone imbalances, weight gain, brain fog, all sorts of things going on with your period, mood swings, poor sleep. I mean, the list of symptoms goes on and on and on. So a lot of my clients come to me and say, well, I had my blood work done, or I had my thyroid panel done, and my doctor says my labs are normal and I'm fine. but I still don't feel right. I still feel like crap. That's a big red flag for me. It's time to do HTMA. It's time to get in and figure out what's going on so that we can get you feeling better. So if you're feeling all these things and you're thinking, what's going on with my body? Is it just stress? Am I just getting older? No, these are red flags that something is going on in your body. I can't read the top of my slide here, but so if it's not stress and if it's not getting older, how do you know you have mineral imbalances? You may feel wired but tired. This is common for a lot of us women. You're craving salt or sugar or carbs. You're sensitive to stress. Maybe you're not reacting to stress as well as you used to. You're overwhelmed by small things, or you're constantly tired no matter how much sleep you get. Like you're waking up in the morning and you're still tired. So trying to balance your hormones without addressing, excuse me, minerals is like trying to build a house without a foundation. It's not going to work. It's gonna fall down. Oh, I see questions. Hold on. Yes, Katie. Postpartum too. I meant to add that. Um, Buffy's like, yep, I'm shaking my head for everything. Yes, HTMA is great for postpartum too, because when you are pregnant, you obviously everything's going to that baby, and then afterwards, you are very depleted in those minerals. So HTMA is great for pre, during, and postpartum as well. So why do minerals matter? I feel like nobody talks about this. Minerals literally are the spark plugs that make up our body, and they are required to activate more than 200,000 enzymes in the body. That's a lot, you guys. What do? They regulate tissue growth, move nutrients across cell membranes, regulate energy, hormones, mood, sleep, detoxification. I mean, that's a few. There's 200,000 things they do. A few key minerals that I want to kind of touch on first before we dive in, because these I feel like are buzzwords lately. Magnesium. Everybody talks about magnesium. What is magnesium good for? Stress, sleep, mood, sodium, potassium. That's good for energy and adrenal function. Calcium. We're women, right? We think about our bone health. Calcium, yeah. Calcium is good for muscle and nervous system balance. So when we are stressed and we are women and we are giving everything to everybody else and we are depleted in minerals and everything else, we are those minerals are like leaching out of us and we are burning through minerals. And you may be trying your best to be healthy, but there are environmental toxins, there are toxins in our food. We're kind of getting it from all angles. So how do we address that? This is where minerals matter. So what is HTMA? I'm going to take a sip of water really quick. HTMA stands for hair tissue mineral analysis. So it is a test where we take a little piece of your hair. I know Katie just did this. I just did mine a couple months ago.
No, I
Uh,
didn't because I didn't want it to get canceled out, not in the right envelope. So I called them today. I rewashed my hair this week.
well, she's working on it. Okay. It is actually fairly simple to do. It doesn't hurt. It's not invasive. It's not a ton of hair. I have my clients say all the time, I don't want, my hair's already thin. I don't want to take any more out. But you take a little bit of your hair and you send this off to the lab, easy peasy. It comes back in a couple weeks and it gives us a 3-month snapshot of what is really going on with your health. So you're having all these symptoms. This is going to tell us why. It can show us how the body systems are off and how to correct it with nutrition and diet. It's cost effective, it is 100% accurate, and it's reliable. It can show mineral levels and ratios, hidden stress patterns, how the thyroid is functioning, detox pathways, adrenal and metabolic function. It can show you what your blood sugar is doing, what your stomach acid is like, so many things. So why is HTMA different than a blood test? Everybody gets blood test, right? Because mineral levels in the hair are 10 times more than in your blood. Let that sink in for a minute. That's pretty impressive. I already said it's a snapshot of your health, but HTMA shows a more comprehensive picture of your mineral health, and can actually catch chronic imbalances before they evolve into a bigger health concern, and that's caught on a blood test. So I always like to think of this as kind of preparing you and prepping you before you get to a point where you feel like there's no return. This is a great kind of indicator for that. We kind of talked about some of the things that it shows, chronic fatigue, chronic pain, insomnia, digestive issues. If you're having all those symptoms, again, this test really shows you why. All right, I think that says something about root cause at the top. I think it says like why a root cause approach. So symptoms like fatigue, anxiety, sleep issues, heavy periods, guess what? Those are often mineral related. Chasing symptoms with band-aid solutions like going on the pill doesn't work long term because you're not addressing the root cause problem. Again, HTMA helps you see the whole picture of your health, and it's bio-individual. We are looking at what makes your body tick and what it needs. Root cause equals lasting long-term results. Remember, we were talking about building that foundation. Minerals plus gut health, plus lifestyle, plus stress, all of this combines to equal total health. All right, any questions before we start getting into the nitty-gritty of HTMA? Are we good?
I have a quick question.
Sure.
And again, you might be getting into this of like explaining it, but just off the top of my head, I'm like, is this something that's good for both men and women? Or is it
Yes.
primarily women? Okay.
Yes. I've done a
You,
couple men's tests, but
yeah,
number one, honestly, men don't follow through.
they don't do what they need
They
to do,
don't, even my own husband, he's like, okay.
right?
Um,
And ain't that the worst?
yeah, and number two, I work mostly with women, so
But like men could do it if
men
they're,
could do it. Men can do it, kids can do it.
oh, what's the youngest age that you've had kids?
I don't think
You know that they
babies,
can't.
but like maybe toddler-ish.
Wow.
Again, that's not my area of expertise, but I know that there are people that specialize in doing it with kids. You can do it on horses and animals. It's pretty across the board. It's just, this is kind of my niche, but it's amazing for all sorts of people and animals. But that's a great question.
Yeah, okay.
So before we get into really talking more about HTMA and how it can pertain to what you're dealing with, I want to first kind of give a definition about what the biggest thing is we're looking at HTMA. Excuse me, and I always go over this with my clients first.
Molly, I'm gonna stop you for a second. Do
Sure.
you want us to see your screen? Because we can't
Oh,
anymore.
you can't see it?
Sorry. I just feel like you
Yes.
want us to see it and we can't.
Uh-oh, thank you for
You're
telling
welcome.
me.
Yeah, I could see it.
Okay,
That's
hold
weird.
on.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's just me then.
Oh, can you guys see that?
It'll come back in just a sec. Yeah, I can see it still.
Okay,
Okay, I can see it now. I don't know if it was just
thank
my
you.
Zoom. Anyways,
That's okay. You guys
sorry.
have to tell me if you can't see something. I'm just running my mouth. Um, all right, so what I want you to look at, I'm a visual person and I find that most women are visual, but I want you to look at this. I'm pointing like you can see, but this scale that I have here, where you have balanced in the middle, fast on one side, and slow on the other side. When we are talking about this HTMA test, we are talking a lot about your oxidation rate and your metabolic type. And those terms can be used interchangeably. One is not good and one is not bad. We're talking about balance and goal. That is the balance. Balance is the goal. Oh my goodness. Got it. Your oxidation rate or your metabolic rate impacts your hormones, your energy, your thyroid, and your adrenal health. So I always like to ask my clients which side they think they fall on. I don't know if you guys can see all the way down. Yeah, that's the whole thing. So the left side is fast. So fast oxidizing or fast metabolic rate, and the right side is slow oxidation or slow metabolic rate. Left side. So if you're a fast oxidizer, it never fails every time because we're women, right? We think, "Ooh, I want to be fast. Fast must mean I burn through stuff and I'm going to be skinny." Well, no, not necessarily. And like I said, there's no good and there's no bad. You want to kind of be balanced in between. But what is kind of indicative of a fast oxidizer? You're burning through fuel, meaning your minerals, way too quickly. You're just like going super fast. Um, when we look on that scale to the left and we see on the very far left, there's a fast four. Fast four is usually kids, like toddlers we were just talking about. Think of a toddler. They're running around, they're hungry all the time, they're doing all the things because they're just burning through energy. That's like a fast four. Racing mind, maybe anxiety, high stress response, and then a quick energy crash. What is a slow oxidizer kind of deal with? It's heavier, slower. I kind of like to think of that like moving through molasses, just slower, more long and drawn out, more fatigue, low energy. You may be dealing with some weight issues that just won't go away, sluggish digestion, burnout. Can you kind of see the differences between both of these? So again, looking at that scale and the fast oxidizer and a slow oxidizer, and again, here's some more tendencies on each side. Looking at those, and I'll give you guys a minute to look at those. Do you see anything that stands out where you think, oh my gosh, I think that's me right there? Does anybody see anything? And I'm happy to share what I am. So I'm an open book, but
Yeah. So, wait, really quickly, I just want to clarify. So, the fast oxidation tendencies, is that the slow digestion or wait, I think I'm confused about the sides because it says like
well,
slow.
and I should have kept them on the same size. Now I realize.
Oh, okay, they're switched. Okay.
Yeah, they're switched.
Okay.
Sorry.
You're good. I was just
I just got that.
clarifying. No, you're good. So, okay, so if we switch them,
Yeah,
okay,
fast should be on the
fast.
left,
Okay.
slow would be on the right.
Um, okay.
I mean, I love myself some stressful situations,
I
but
love the
also
honesty.
have low stomach acid. So I'm right. I'm a combo.
Yeah, I was gonna say I kind of feel like there's like I have like a little bit of each one.
Yeah, interesting.
But like yeah, I don't
It
know.
makes you think, right? You're like, what am I? So
Yeah.
I will share what I have been. Now, the thing that I haven't shared with HTMA is when you have your initial test, then you want to retest because the goal again is we want to be like life happens, things move. We want to be in balance. We don't want to stay in one place too long. So you want to be retesting every 3 to 4 months because you want to see things change and they should be changing. So initially, for probably a year and a half, every single time I did HTMA, I was a slow ox. Sorry, slow oxidation. I say slow ox to shorten it. Which was so frustrating to me. I was like, oh my gosh, am I ever going to get out of this? This is, I just recently retested like 2 months ago and I finally was over in fast oxidation. I went from a slow one to a fast one. So if you look on that scale, I kind of went from one to the other, which is what you want to do. I'm going in the right direction, if that makes sense. Um, but I really thought I had the wrong test because it's like I'm a fast oxidizer. I've never been fast oxidizer. I did it, yay. 80% of the population is a slow oxidizer. And the majority of my clients, being women and what women deal with, are slow oxidizers. I do have a few that are fast and they are mostly fast ones, although I have had a couple fast fours recently. So again, just shows you everybody is different, but I thought that would be really fun for you guys to see. Again, balance is the goal. That's what we want. All right, so I thought it would be fun to kind of show you how I use this in my practice with some client case studies because I can talk about it all night, but again, I think it's helpful to see visually, like real case scenarios, what we're looking at, what this is about, what's going on with someone. So this is one of my clients. I just said client number one. This is a snippet of her real HTMA test. This was her first test. And I kind of want to walk you through this again, very basics. We're not going to get into the nitty gritty of it because it's a lot and I don't want to overwhelm you. But when we're looking at this kind of pale bluish purple chart, I want you to look on the bottom of this chart, so from the far left to the right, and then I want you to look up from the bottom to the top. When we look from the bottom to the top, you see low, reference range, and high. Those are where we want minerals to fall, and ideally, on a first test, we want them to be in that reference range, in that kind of white area. Now, this client, goodness gracious, she doesn't have a lot in the reference range, does she? When we look at the bottom of this graph, I want you to really only pay attention to the first 4 minerals on the left. These are the first 4 main ones and the ones that we burn through the fastest when we are stressed. Hello. Calcium, magnesium, sodium, and potassium. So this client's calcium is literally at the top of that chart. Her magnesium is at the top of that chart. Her sodium is trending towards the lower bit. Her potassium is kind of in the reference range, but it's also dropping a little bit. So what does this mean? Like when I get her test, this is one of the first things I'm looking at. And immediately I'm like, oh, I already know what's going on. So because she has high calcium and high magnesium, you're probably thinking, oh, well, that means she's got a lot of that in her body. That's good. She doesn't need calcium. She doesn't need magnesium. It's actually the opposite of that. Because she has high calcium and magnesium, it's being lost in her hair. The body is not holding on to those minerals, so it's being excreted in her hair. Therefore, it's bio-unavailable in the body. It's kind of like floating around in the body, not being utilized properly. So she's just kind of like losing it, if that makes sense. Because she has such extremely high calcium, I mean, we're talking triple digits here, she has what is called a calcium shell. I see this in a lot of women, just in how we process emotions and we deal with things. This usually means some sort of emotional trauma, and it is a way of the body trying to protect itself. So I have my little picture of a knight in armor down here. It is literally, calcium's hard, right? Think of our bones. It's like your body putting up a shell, a protection around you because you can't handle anymore. It's like, nope, I'm good. I can't take any more in. So your body literally creates this calcium shell, this kind of like hard shell where minerals can't move, things aren't being utilized in the cells properly. So we see things like hypothyroidism. This client in particular was in menopause. She was 53. She was having horrible brain fog. She wasn't sleeping. She was a runner. So she came to me and she was like, it hurts so bad when I run, but I love to run. It's like, you have to stop. You have a calcium shell. Your bones right now, like it's like bone on bone. No wonder it hurts. Chronic fatigue, and she had major digestive issues. So we worked on this. We got her minerals moving. And how did we do that? We started breaking down that calcium shell, working on those foundations, supporting her digestion, her sleep, her blood sugar, and these minerals started to move. So I always like to show this one. Oh, Katie says, I think I have this. Okay, cool. We will talk later. But I always like to show that visual, excuse me, of the night too, because I think that's a great visual for you to see what I mean when I say calcium shell. All right, let's check out another one. This client number 2, came to me with, she was 45. She came to me with chronic fatigue, hormone imbalances, cysts, chronic inflammation, a lot of inflammation, endometriosis. She had all sorts of things going on. Now, here we are looking at a different part of her test. You'll notice this is not what we were looking at on the other screen. This is looking at mineral ratios, which is another part of the test, which we're going to talk about a little bit more here in a second. But again, we're looking on the left of this chart, low, acceptable, and high, and you can kind of see where we want those ranges to be and where they are. So I want you to look at the 1, 2, 3, third one over from the right, this CAK. I feel like this always takes me back to chemistry in high school, which I hated, but it's like the periodic table. I always have like flashbacks. Who knew I would be doing this later later in life. So that's CAK. So again, third one over from the right. Ca is calcium, K is potassium. Um, that's the calcium to potassium ratio, and this is actually called the thyroid ratio. This is probably the number one thing that I look at with my clients, again, women in midlife, because we want to really see what's going on with their thyroid. So this client's thyroid ratio is quite high. It is all the way at the tippy top of that graph. It's at 67. Wowzer. What the heck does that mean? The higher the ratio, the more exhausted the body is. So this makes sense with everything she came to me with. An elevated ratio, which she has here, shows a slowing thyroid. So those more hypothyroid tendencies. This is also due to elevated tissue calcium. I don't have her calcium shot or screenshot up here, but she had elevated calcium, which also will make the cells less permeable to the uptake of the thyroid hormone. Too much biounavailable calcium, again, that calcium floating around, decreases the cell permeability, which means it can't get in the cell, making it difficult for the thyroid hormone to get into the cell. So what the heck does that mean? I'm gonna break it down even easier for you. This client came to me and said, I had my thyroid blood work done. It says normal, but I don't feel great. What's going on? It's because her blood work showed that her thyroid was fine because she has enough thyroid hormone in her blood, because it's a blood test. HTMA is looking at minerals and tissues. What this is truly showing us is that there is enough thyroid hormone in the blood, but it can't get into the cell to be utilized properly. So it's like out here. It can't get in here to be processed and used correctly through the body. So that's why she's having all these symptoms, the fatigue, the hypothyroid symptoms, because it can't get in there. Blood work says it's here, which it is, but it can't get in here, which HTMA is showing us, and it can't be used properly. So she's right. Her thyroid is not working 100%. That's what I love about this test. This is such a game changer for so many of my clients to have validation about why they feel the way they feel. All right, I told you we were going to talk a little bit more about mineral ratios. So let's dive into that. I tried to squeeze all this on the screen because I was like, I want to share all this with them. Initially, we looked at individual minerals. Here, when we look at mineral ratios, we're looking at kind of how they all play together in the sandbox well. We're wanting to see how they work and interact together. Again, we're not looking at one specific mineral, we're looking at all of them and the body as a whole. So I just briefly wanted to show you what each of these mineral ratios are and kind of what they correlate to, just again, so you can say, oh, okay, so that's how we find out what's going on in my body. Again, let's start at the left and go to the right. So CAP, that's calcium to phosphorus, that is your energy ratio. That is going to show us how you're metabolizing that energy. Are you a fast oxidizer? Are you a slow oxidizer? Like we talked about before. Moving over to the right, we have NAK, which is sodium to potassium. That is your stress ratio. If you have a 2.20, so if you look at this client, does she have higher than a 2.20 or lower? She has lower. So what does that mean? She is maxed out. She's in an exhaustive state of stress. Her body's really, really struggling. Her adrenals are struggling. If we go to the next one over, oh, I think I skipped one. I did. So if we go a couple over to NAMG, which is the fifth one over, that is sodium to magnesium. This is your adrenal ratio. If you are 5 and above, so what is she? Oh no, she's not 5 and above. If you're 5 and above, you have overactive adrenals. Again, they're kind of burning through everything. If you have 3.5 and below, which she definitely does, she has 2.22, your adrenals are more sluggish. So either way, your adrenals are struggling, but that just kind of tells us how well they're doing and where we need to support you. The next one is zinc to copper. That's kind of right smack in the middle there. And that one's really high for her. This is your hormone ratio. Again, talking about women and hormones and midlife. when you have an elevated ratio, you tend to be more progesterone dominant. When you have a low ratio, you tend to be more estrogen dominant, which is helpful when we talk about like PMS symptoms or estrogen dominant symptoms, which I'm going to circle back to that before we wrap up. And then the last one
All
is
right, I have a nerdy question without
Sure.
only knowing that you just did this, so you can
Okay.
totally tell me not to ask this right now.
It's like,
But would a low ratio then for zinc to copper with the estrogen dominance cause histamine issues?
yes.
Okay, thanks.
And I'm going to talk more about, so keep that zinc to copper kind of in the back of your head. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. Again,
Okay.
remember, we don't want to look at one thing, we're looking
Right,
at
just one,
everything.
yeah. It was more
Um,
just, yeah.
But that's a really good question because yes. Calcium to magnesium is the last one. That's CAMG. And that is your blood sugar ratio. Again, really important with women, talking about hormone balance. So 8.5 and higher trends more towards lower blood sugar. I don't think I had anything below that. So she is trending more towards low blood sugar. So we really need to work on blood sugar balance, nutrition, making sure she's getting enough protein. So these are kind of things that I look at overall with my clients to really, again, fine tune what's going on, what we need to do to support them. All right, Katie, here's more of what you were asking about. So we were talking about zinc to copper. And then on that first page, I was saying we were only looking at those first four minerals, calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium. But I also always look at copper, which is on that first page. Why is copper so important with women? Because there's something called copper toxicity, which sounds horrible, but it's really not. It just means copper imbalance. So I always like to explain that. This means there is biounavailable copper in the body. Like when we were talking about that calcium shell earlier, and that client had biounavailable calcium kind of roaming around. There is usually a lot of biounavailable copper with women. No matter what stage of life you're in, I see this over and over again. So it means there's an excess of copper in the body, but it's not in a usable state. So if we look on this client's HTMA report, her copper, which is the CU, is 1.1. This is pretty standard for most of my clients. I've even seen it drop to lower than that. But this is, again, something kind of like patterns I see over and over again. When I look at this test, I also run an additional test where I rank a client to see kind of where they stand with copper markers. It's a 1 to 12 like marker checklist. And most of my clients trend on the higher side, usually like 7 out of 12, 8 out of 12, 9 out of 12. I very rarely have anyone 6 and below. So this client ranked 8 out of 12. So that meant she had 8 markers for copper toxicity. What does that mean? It contributes to hormone and metabolic imbalances, low iron, low energy, high blood sugar, low thyroid, histamine issues. Why is copper imbalance so common in women? When you have this buried copper, as we like to call it, it affects all parts of the body. And it also means that your liver is really struggling to detoxify that excess copper. When that copper starts to build up in the liver, we start to see estrogen dominance. Your body can't get that estrogen out fast enough. So we see fatigue, PMS, histamine issues, tender breast, irritability, you name it. That's where that's coming from. Slow oxidizers, remember we talked about fast and slow oxidizers. Slow oxidizers are typically higher in biounavailable copper because their body is moving slower, so they can't detox as fast and as properly. So they usually have poor detoxification. When copper builds up in the liver, it impairs the liver's ability to detox estrogen. So, are you ready for this? Why? Anyone, female, who has been on any type of hormonal birth control for over a long period of time, I don't care if it was when you were in your 20s, I don't care if it was 40 years ago, you have a very strong predisposition towards copper imbalance. It can stay in the body for up to 30 years. I wish I had known this years ago before I ever got on hormonal birth control because it would have solved a lot of problems. But I see this over and over again. Oh, what's the ratio for high blood sugar? Let me go back to that one again, Buffy. Hold on. High blood sugar is, I think that is, yeah, calcium to magnesium. It's the one right here. I don't know if you can see that. So copper is really important when we talk about women and hormones and symptoms that you're having. We want to get that copper out of the body. We treat it like heavy metals, which are toxic. We want them out of the body. We want to make sure that we are constantly excreting them, working on detox, supporting the body. And just a reminder, because I know when I go over these tests with my clients, sometimes they're like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you. You are not broken. Your body is just needing more support and it's not getting that support. So that's where HTMA helps. That's where you get a clear roadmap to figure out what's going on, where to go, and where to start, like one foot in front of the other. That's why I love HTMA. So how can you find out what's going on with your minerals? Now I've told you all this information. You're like, but now I want to know. I want to know. So you need to do your own HTMA test. So because you guys are here today, I am offering a special. Usually my HTMA offer is $3.99. I'm offering it to you guys for $3.49 until the end of the week. My HTMA offer is a one standalone test, because I think, again, so many women are out there just overwhelmed and confused. And this is a great place to start, just again, to give you that roadmap. So what do you get with that? You get your one test, which is a kit mailed to you. You take your little hair sample, you mail it off. It comes back in about 2 weeks. And then you and I dive deep into your test, and I'll ask you for some intake paperwork too, like a food mood journal and some health history, because I really want to know what's been going on with you. But we will dive in together and figure out why you're having these symptoms and how it correlates to your HTMA test so that you can start getting some answers. You can take that and run with it. You can decide if you want to work with me more on that. I offer one-on-one packages, but I think this is a great test just to get the ball rolling, to get you some answers so that you're not feeling like, what is going on with me? And I'll put a link over here in the chat for you guys for that. So I thought you might want to see what some of my clients have been saying about their HTMA test, because again, I can talk about it all day long, but I thought you might want to see what real people are saying. One of my clients was dealing with brain fog, weight gain, low energy, depression, and no period for over 2 years. I'm happy to say her period has come back. It is regular. She had been on the pill for numerous years, had no idea it was depleting her body of minerals, which is what hormonal birth control does. It just ekes them out of the body. And she's actually lost weight. She's lost about 7 pounds. I'm working with her currently. We're doing a 6-month package together, but she is feeling so much better. And she loved that HTMA really, again, gave her a clear path forward and how to start getting her body back in balance. I had another client that really suspected she might have some poor gut health and she was losing muscle tone. When we went over her test, I love her response here. She was like, oh my goodness. She was like, I really need to prioritize my nutrition. And I was like, yeah, that's why I'm here to help you. She just thought it was so eye-opening. What I hear from a lot of my clients too is that it's so validating, and I see them nodding a lot as we're going over their test results, and they're like, yep, that all makes sense. That makes sense. I had a client the other day, she was like, I don't have any questions. Yep, that all is exactly everything I'm dealing with. And I was like, okay, you're welcome. This client just wasn't sure where to start. So she was understanding how her body was metabolizing energy, and she left feeling empowered. She had knowledge. So she kind of had some answers and was ready to move forward. Again, this is a one-time offer that I'm offering to you guys, but I also offer free 30-minute discovery calls. You don't have to sign up with me. It's just a free 30-minute call. We can talk about what you're dealing with. I can hopefully give you some direction, but I do offer that. I always like to mention that as well. And now, any other questions? I'm kind of done with my spiel. I'll put those things over here in the link. But any questions that you guys have? And then there's where you can find me too.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think that
I'm
that was
gonna put those links in there.
super informative. I was gonna ask, when you are thinking of like, I think I've just like missed some of the like slow oxidizing, fast oxidizing.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Um, is there like a certain mineral or mineral ratio that you feel like is more correlated specifically with like belly fat weight gain?
That's a great question. Usually, believe it or not, that thyroid ratio really is a good indicator of that. And again, that slow oxidizer. Um,
What do you do with like, okay, so like I don't have a thyroid and I have to like
huh,
actually take thyroid medication very regularly. And I feel like after my first kid, I was able to like I get tested regularly and it says I'm fine, I'm in like normal range and all the things. And after my first kid, I feel like it was easier for me to like lose the weight, but I feel like the second kid, I just have like belly fat. Like and like swelly puffiness, I feel like on my whole body, that's
yeah.
like not going away.
Well, and something else that could be too, I was gonna put that other screenshot back up there again. Um, oops, now I can't see you guys. That could also be sodium. It could be how your body is processing sodium, retention of those fluids and things like that. I would be really curious to see what your sodium levels are like. I think that's another myth that I usually like to bust is women are so afraid of salt. We've been taught that salt is bad, but when your adrenals are tanked and you're stressed, you actually need
I'm
more salt.
I'm pretty good with like my electrolytes every day.
With your electrolytes. Okay.
I take them every day. So that's why I'm like, I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, again, it could be more of the slow metabolism. It could be some thyroid. It could be blood sugar. It could be, there's so many things it could be.
I will say, Buffy, not speaking from the practitioner role, because this is all of Molly's, but speaking from my personal experience, I'm 15 months postpartum right now, and my salt requirements, and I have not tested yet, so I don't know that, but I'm pretty in tune with my body, and my salt requirement postpartum went through the roof
Really?
compared to like pre-baby.
Yeah.
And like I use, and I know Molly uses this too, that BioElite electrolytes, which has a lower sodium ratio. And honestly, sometimes I feel like it's not enough sodium for me. So to go with what Molly said, it would be interesting to see your sodium because I just personally know I need a lot more sodium than most people need right now since having my child. So I think something must shift postpartum. And I
Sure.
think everybody's different too. So
Yeah.
just
Interesting.
for my experience to yours, like I thought I was good with my electrolytes, and I'm like, well, I need a lot more sodium than that.
Yes, yes. Margaret, I feel like you have a question. You popped on there.
I do. My husband is actively doing dishes. Don't mind him. So sorry. Um, I have so many questions actually. Number one, what is a healthy number of bowel movements? I saw that was like a scale on both sides. I was like, wait,
That's a good
what's
question. No
going
one
on?
asks that. So
Okay,
many people are afraid to talk about the poop. I love to talk about the poop.
not me. Okay.
Ideally, ideally, at least 1 to 2 a day. And when I say that, they
Okay.
need to be solid and well formed. I don't know if you know the Bristol stool chart, but that doesn't mean that you're having like massive diarrhea 2 times a day. They need to be solid, formed, good poops. You don't need to be straining. They need to come out. My practitioner friend says fast like a ninja. Yep, they need to come out good and solid and strong. If you are not having at least one bowel movement a day, then there's probably some bile issues, some constipation going on, things that we would want to support your body with. It's a great question.
Thank you. Also, with the like high amounts of potassium in the hair and things like that. So I know that sometimes when you take a supplement and your body doesn't actually need it, it'll just like come out in your
Mhm.
urine or something.
Right.
Is that ever shown on the hair tests? Like,
That's a great
could the high
question.
potassium have been she was taking a potassium supplement and that's how it
I
got
haven't had
out
it with
from?
potassium, but I did have a
Okay.
client recently where we looked at selenium. Selenium is really important when you talk about thyroid health, and her so usually again with the clientele that I deal with, selenium is really low because a lot of women are struggling with thyroid health. And her selenium was through the roof. And I was like, what the heck? What happened? Like, I've never seen this. And I reached out to one of my mentors and she was like, ask her what she's eating, if she's trying to supplement selenium with supplements or if she's eating something. And I went back to my client and she said, well, that's funny you're asking me that because I've been eating a ton of Brazil nuts, which are very high in selenium.
Mm.
And you're only supposed to have like max 2 a day to help with selenium. And she was eating like handfuls of them and it showed up on her HTMA test. I was like, stop eating Brazil nuts. You were like skewing everything. And we haven't done her retest yet. I think we're getting ready to do that next month. But I'll be curious to see if that changed. So I haven't really seen it with like potassium supplements. We see it sometimes with like magnesium, because usually we're supplementing everybody with magnesium. Everybody's depleted in that. It's not in our soil anymore. But yeah, I haven't really seen it with like potassium specifically, but with selenium, sometimes with calcium. If someone has a lot of that biounavailable calcium where their calcium is so high, we actually, you would think it's like counterintuitive, but we actually want to make sure that they are getting enough calcium from
Mhm.
food sources because their body isn't, again, it's not utilizing that calcium, so it's being lost. Did that help answer that
Okay.
question?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great questions, by the
Um,
way. You guys have so many good questions.
my last question was, so I was off camera and muted the entire time because I was eating dinner. But when you were like, does anyone relate to any of these things? And I think Buffy started to ask a question about this of like, what if you relate to extremes on both sides? Like this specifically the part about dairy. When I tell you last night I ate 3 cheese sticks in a row, like just 3 mozzarella cheese sticks, just in a row. And on the other side was like having super like cold skin and dry skin. Like even in Wilmington, I like we have dry skin all year round, which seems like extremes on both ends, but it's like,
Right.
how do you justify that? And then the other question kind of about that was, are there like positive indicators on either side? Like you
Yeah.
have this benefit or feel really good
Oh,
doing this
absolutely. Yeah,
thing.
and
Okay.
I've learned over the 3 years I've been doing this. I think initially I just like laid it all on my clients and they were like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. And they were very overwhelmed. Now I really do try to point out the positives first and foremost. So yes, there are definitely positives we like to focus on. And then we say, okay, then here's what we're really gonna focus on. Again, not good versus bad, but like this is what we're gonna
Sure.
focus on. So that was that question. And then you were talking about the dry skin. And yes, we do live in a very humid climate. That to me would be, again, I'm going to go back to some of these same things because I see it all the time. Thyroid, dry skin, cold skin, brittle hair, brittle nails, maybe like losing hair, dry hair, but anything skin related that's dry usually goes back to thyroid. I would also want to circle back with some gut health on that. Maybe your liver too, like when it comes out on your skin, when it affects your skin, that's because your body, like there's nowhere for it to go, so it has to go out somewhere. I was trying to remember the first part of that question you asked too. The cheese, dairy. So are you craving the dairy?
Always.
Always.
Who
So
does
that
not like cheese, right? Like
string cheese is delicious.
the best.
I'm like, I need a heavy cream in my cold brew,
I love the specifics of that. You could be craving that because your gut could be, there could be something in your gut where you have an imbalance where it's craving those specific things in the dairy. It could be that you need more calcium, and so your body is like, "Hey, give me all the calcium." It could be, again, I hate to say good or bad, but it could go either way. Again, that's where HTMA would be really helpful, is to show what's really going on with your calcium, and why your body is craving that so much. Um, and if you need to keep eating it, like that would be something else I'd want to look at. Do you need to keep eating the calcium, or is it a case where you don't need to be eating the calcium, even though you can crave things that aren't good for you because your gut bacteria is like, gimme, gimme, gimme. If it's bad bacteria in your gut.
How much
Thank you.
how much does it cost? Oh, sorry. Also, Margaret, are you done? Did you have a
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Great questions. Great questions.
how much is like just the test for the follow-up? Like if you're gonna retest,
Yeah.
Like how much does that cost?
That's usually I try to again, everybody's different. But it's not the full $3.99. I think right now I'm doing like $2.50 for my clients. And ideally, again, 3 to 4 months. I have some clients that are like, no, I want to do it in 6 months, or I want to finish my protocol and go back. Because I'm a practitioner, I get a little OCD with it, and I do it probably way more frequently because I have access to it and I want to know. I said I just did it 3 months ago. I'm going to do it again. But again, everybody's different. That's kind of the general standard 3 to 4 months. You can go longer, it depends.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. But again, you want to see those minerals change. You want to see more up and down on those charts. You want to see moving. If you were a slow metabolizer, you want to see it move at some point. It's so funny, like in our practitioner world, those of us that do this, we always talk like, what are you? What are you? I'm still a slow oxidizer. Like, but that's not a bad thing. It just means you need some more support. So I love talking about that with my clients too.
Love it.
If we were to refer clients to you, do you take like insurance or HSA, FSA,
That's a
anything like
great
that?
question, Margaret. Thank you. I didn't put that in my slide. I do not take insurance, but I do take FSA and HSA, and I do offer payment plans. Insurance just doesn't cover most nutritional therapists. They do cover some functional nutritionists. And I'm really glad that I don't take insurance, because if I had to, my care with my clients would change totally. And this way I get more control. I get to decide how long I want to spend with my clients. I'm not being rushed. I'm not having to bill you for certain things. It's so much more better for the client experience. But I do not take insurance.
Are
Yeah.
do you you said you do payment plans though? So like
I do payment plans. Yeah, I have a referral program. I think Margaret said something about referring. If you have someone that you want to refer to me and they sign up to work with me, I do have a referral program to say thank you for referring someone. You get something good, they get something good. I take FSA, HSA, payment plans. I try to meet everybody where they're at, and make it work, because everybody's got all sorts of, life, different backgrounds. Like, we try to make it work.
no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool.
I've
Thank you so much. Any other questions?
Awesome.
Anybody else? No.
Any slide you want me to go back and review before we hop off? I'm happy to do that. I was trying to think if there's anything
Would
else.
you suggest like if we want to work with you, just like shoot you an email? That's probably the best way.
Yeah, shoot me an email, or I didn't put my email. Oh, there it is up there on the screen. Yeah, shoot me an email. If you want to reach out to me, if you have more questions, if you want to book a discovery call, like I said, it's free, 30 minutes. You're not forced to sign up with me after that. You can go on your merry way if you need to. But I'm always here as a resource. So if nothing else, I'm always happy to answer questions and educate.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for coming on this rainy night. Katie, I don't know if it's rainy where you are, but it's very rainy here. It's gross outside.
No, it will be in a couple days though if it's
Okay,
with you.
you're gonna get it soon. That's right. You're north of us.
Well, thank you guys for joining in. We appreciate your time. We hope you learned a lot of good stuff. And yeah, definitely reach out to Molly if you're interested in working with her, and share with other people who weren't on the
Yeah.
call. Again, we're gonna try to put it up on YouTube for people who might be interested in learning a little bit more, so they can watch it later. So, but
And come follow on Instagram. I'm on the gram.
yeah, that video anytime soon though, y'all. Just we got our big Oysters for Outreach fundraiser happening next weekend, like not this weekend, but next weekend. And so I'm like in full on planning mode. So
Planning mode. Oh my goodness.
yeah, here we go. But
Well, I
anyhow,
hope the weather holds up for you for that. Yeah.
I also do. Oh man, anyhow, you guys have a wonderful
Thank
night.
you guys. I enjoyed it.
Thank
Everybody
you.
take